Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I'm here to do a dual review today. I'm going to do one and then the other and just talk about which one I preferred and why, and you know, the other things I kind of enjoyed. So the first thing is Still Lives by Maria Hummel, and the second is The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. I got both of these for review and I thought it could be fun to start to review properly rather than just in wrap-ups the books I get for review. So we're going to start with these two. Okay, so Still Lives by Maria Hummel. This book is, in short, about a woman artist who does very out there pieces, very experimental art in which she takes photographs of something and then renders that into a painting. She's very careful to destroy the original photograph and have the art stand for itself. She stands in as the model for all of the things that she photographs with people in, and dresses herself up and disguises herself as these other people. And when she destroys the photograph, she destroys her impact within the piece of art. So we follow a character who works at the local art gallery that is expecting to put on a show for her. She's called Kim Lord. And it's a particularly controversial show, and it's quite a big deal for all the characters who are here because it's a little bit like they really want it, but it's also could gather quite a lot of negative press because Kim Lord has decided to do a series of pictures of women who are famously victims, and she is putting them in the situation in which they died. So they're kind of quite graphic, almost crime scene-esque pictures that she then renders into quite ornate, detailed, Renaissance-y type paintings with all of these hidden meanings. So that's how the book opens, and it quickly becomes apparent that Kim Lord, who has made all these paintings, doesn't turn up to her own opening, and she has vanished. And then we're into essentially a murder mystery about what has happened to her and is it related to the art that she makes. This book has very strong feminist themes, talking about female victimhood and the spectacle we make of that, and some questions around how we represent that within art, whether or not that is right, whether we're using people to further something in an artistic way. And the book talks about Emmett Till, the painting of Emmett Till that was made a little bit in here, and that did kind of ring in my head when I was reading it actually. I think it's quite, I could not be able to go into too much detail because I do want to do this as spoiler free. But we are kind of trying to figure out how has she disappeared, has she done it by herself, has someone meant her harm, and if so, who? And we have quite a wide cast of characters, of people she's involved with. We have like spurned boyfriends, we have art dealers who maybe want her work, we have colleagues who are jealous, and all the kind of players who interact with her work really. And we're trying to determine whether or not she's potentially just taken herself away, because it could be that this is some dramatic reveal potentially that she has vanished alongside these women. Now I have to say that I didn't guess the ending of this at all, and I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't. I don't think it was an obvious one. And I did really enjoy the process of it. I think in a weird way it's a lot girlier than the kind of book I normally read. It is told from the perspective of a woman who has quite traditional kind of feminine activities that she does, which tends not to be the kind of thing that I would do, and kind of worrying about what she's wearing and how her makeup looks and things, and quite a lot of detail in those kind of areas that normally I don't read about or think about. But I very much enjoy the reading experience, and for me reading a kind of thriller mystery thing is quite unusual, but I thought it mixed with art worked quite nicely, and I would recommend it. I think even if you don't normally read those kind of books, you might quite enjoy this one. And then we have The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. So this book is about a woman who is going to prison for life without parole essentially. She's serving a double life sentence with time added on as well, so we're aware that she's going to prison for the rest of her life. We know from quite quite quickly on in the novel that she has a young son who she's left behind on the outside world, and we don't know what her crime is. And really that's the heart of this book, is learning about prison on one side and how she's surviving and who she becomes in that environment, but also how important is it what she's done, and how much do we forgive this character for her crimes. I love this and would definitely recommend it. I think it proved to be an exploration of the culture within prisons, and dealt with some really important issues like the placement of transgender people in like men's prisons or women's prisons, which doesn't really fit with, you know, what their identity is, and it's not safe. Talked a little about sex in prison and rape in prison, as well as more mundane things like the kind of work that they do and the amount they get paid. And I thought this was such a good book to learn a little bit more about the prison system without it being a non-fiction book, and I think the characters are really strong and do pull you through. I found myself kind of glued to this. It was very detail heavy for me because a lot of the prison knowledge was stuff I didn't know, and the culture, the kind of like drug culture in LA was something I just don't know at all. I think overall this book kind of speaks to the arbitrariness of the state and punishment, and also about forgiveness and what we can forgive and what we can put up with in terms of crime, and what's the best thing to do with people who commit crimes. I really loved this. I love that it was in a women's prison setting. I've read a few things in men's prison settings but nothing in a women's prison, and found some of the tiny little details about how women survive in prison to be really interesting, and different things like bartering for like makeup, for example, or pictures of yourself when you were younger. And also there's kind of a theme running through where people sell their details to write to pen pals and almost use these unwitting men as victims to get them food or luxuries into the prison. Yeah, I would really recommend it. I think it's well worth it, well worth a read. You'll find yourself trying to stay with the book to find out what she has done, and you'll also kind of be drawn in to find out what her life is now. Yeah, I think I gave this one 5 stars, so would definitely recommend. So hopefully that's been useful to hear a little bit about those 2 books I recently had. They're really new releases, but they are both out now, so if you do want to pick them up, you can. Yeah, if you've read them and you've enjoyed them, let me know down below. If you're sold on either one, also let me know, and I will chat to you guys soon in another video. Bye!